Okay, alright. We're going to explore the second first hop redundancy protocol, VRRP. Technically, VRRP provides the same function as SRIP, provide the redundancy gateway for the end user. And in the VRRP group, we had the master and backup router. VRRP use those terms instead of active and standby in the SRIP. And VRB had the two version 1 and version 3. Version 2 only support IPv4 and version 3 support IPv4 and IPv6. It also use the priority to elect who is master and who is backup in group. The hello message sent between the router in group every 1 second and hold timer 3 seconds. And VRB also had a preemption feature and tracking uh, interface status on the tracking ground in your routing table. VRB preemption enabled by default in Cisco router or Cisco switch, and we can achieve the loss sharing by using the multiple VRB group on the router or switch. The main difference between the VRP and SRP is V2 IP address in the VRP. We can use the V2 IP address, same the IP address on router interface, or we can define another IP address same like in the SRP. And also VRP create the V2 MAC address after we configure the VRP. Using the format with the last 2 digits come from the VRB group in the hash format. And one more thing, SRIP is a Cisco proprietary protocol, and sometimes device request license to you, but the VRP no request license. Okay, we go lab today. Same like the SRIP, I add one more the VLAN 30 and user 3 belong to VLAN 30, and with topology I must set up the sub interface on the each router 1 and router 2. Okay, and I use VRB version 3. Let me show the configuration. This is router 1, and let me show IP interface brief. I had the sub interface VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 same like previous video, and because I use VRB version 3, so I need enable the zip filter on the router. First hop redundancy version VRB, and I had the version 2 or version 3, and then same like SRIP, I need create a sub interface slug 0 version 30. Okay, and capsulation doc1q VLAN 30, and define IP address for this sub interface 192.168 and 30, and IP 252.252.55 and 0. VRB version 3 had some different steps. We need to define the VRB group first, and then follow the IP version 4 or IP version 6 and U version 4. And under this submod, I can define the V2 IP 192.168 30 and 254, and we had the two options, primary or second. Because I only had one subnet per this interface, so I use the primary, and primary is default, and I define priority 130 as it master router, and I don't need enable the preemption. It's enabled by default, so go to the router 2, same like router 1, and so IP interface brief. Okay, and enable the first hop redundancy protocol version VRB version 3, and create the sub interface 30, and cap 1 queue version 3 sorry 30 and IP address for sub interface 192.168.30.253. Okay, and define the VRB group 30 30 and IPv4 version 4. Okay, and v2ip and variety 90 set backup router. And let me show the configuration 30. Okay, is that the on configuration for VRB version 3 on the sub interface? I think that's enough until now. And to show VRB status after we done configuration, use the show VRRPv3 and correct, right? Router 1 is a master router with variety 120 or 30, and router 2 so VRB brief, and we had the group arrest, master arrest, variety group, and sub interface and state. Okay, to check the detail information, we can use so VRP detail. Okay, we had the virtual MAC address and last 2 digits we get from group number and change to the hash format group 30, so hash format is the 1E, correct, right? And hello message sent every 1 second, 1000 millisecond, and permission enable by default. We had the master router IP address and priority. Okay, same like in the router 1, so VRB detail. Okay, so now I will add the track to the VRB configuration to track the uplink of master router. Okay, go to sub interface 0 select 030 and VRB 30 arrest IPv4. Okay, then track. I will use the resume the track 10 in previous video, and we have option decrement or shutdown. Decrement, because shutdown I cannot know that if the router recover, and decrease 40 100 subtract 40, and we have the 80 lower than router 2. Okay, and then before I shut down the uplink, I will open the directory or check the pin. So what happened? cmd okay, pin to the gateway network 1 today 30 to 54. Okay, can be right. Let's pin to the internet 1.1.1. Okay, I can be right. So now I will shut down the uplink box on router 1 and check what happened. Okay, okay, sorry, 1 and shut down. We'll check what happened. What timeout, right? And in the router 1 we can see the VRB state change to the backup. Okay, and after the 3 buckets I see the traffic recovery. Okay, and let's check status on router 2. So VRB group brief. Okay, now router 2 is master and variety 90, master group and group IP address. How about router 1 brief, and the variety now is 80, right? And stay backup. Okay, correct, right? So what happens if I enable the interface 0 select 1? My base station router 1 now get the master role again from router 2. Correct, right? Very fast, right? After only 1 second, you see state change to backup to master. Okay, how about traffic? Okay, no, right? Okay, let me show routing. Let me check. Okay, check the whether the user tree learned the virtual MAC address. Okay, okay, virtual MAC address. This one, you see, 30.254. This is my MAC address from virtual IP address. Okay, so let me try disable the permission and then shut down the uplink interface on the edge router. So then I check what happened. By default, permission in VRRP enable by default, right? So let me disable this function on the board of router 1 and 2, and no permission. Sorry, VRRP 30 and RS IPv4 and no permission. Okay, and also on router 2, 30 VRRP 30 RS IPv4 and no permission. Okay, and let me do run interface 0 slug 0 .30. Okay, now permission do run interface 0 slug 0 .30. Okay, no permission. And now let me go to interface 0 slug 1 and shut down. So what happened? Okay, track down. Okay, but we did not see any the log for VRB, right? And so VRB brief. Okay, no anything change, right? Okay, so let me enable the, let's check the pin. I cannot write. Let me enable permission. Okay, and now router 2 will take over the master run from router 1. Correct? Okay, and so now user can pin to internet. Okay, let me recover the box uplink box on router 1. No such. So what happened? Lab protocol up, but the VRB not trigger the failover again because in router 1 I also disable the preemption feature. Okay, so this behavior same like the SRIP. We should accept the 2-time downtime and enable the preemption on the port of router on the group. Okay, 30 and VRB 30 RS IPv4 preempt. Okay, now the router 1 take over the smarter run from router 2. Okay, I think configuration, VRB configuration not complexity. So let me show one more configuration one more time. Okay, we need if we use the VRRP version 3, we need enable the Z feature on the router or switch, and Brimson enable by default, so we don't care uh, who keep the Brimson or who disable. And we can use the virtual IP address same like the IP address on the router. Okay, thank you for watching and see you in next video. Bye bye.